Scandinavia would be Hungary, right? To a certain degree.
N-
No?
no, no.
Bulgaria?
Scandinavian. Bulgaria is Slavic
Slavic. Hmm.
base.
What would you
Because
say Latvia? Like Latvia?
Latvia, I'm not sure.
Ah.
I'm not sure.
Hmm. I need to do a lot of a lot of studying after this one.
Yes.
Welcome to another episode of Tales from Diaspora. In today's episode, I have the wonderful opportunity of interviewing one of my mentors. She is from Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia, now Serbia, and moved to Canada in the late 1980s, and later moved to the USA in 1998. She is a retired, seasoned development chemist in the rubber industry with over 30 years of experience. Now she lives in North Carolina, spending most of her time with her family, including her adorable grandchildren. It brings me great pleasure to introduce you all to Mrs. Lillian Stanojevic. Welcome, Lillian.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that your weekend was kind of a letdown. Why is that?
Oh, it's just rainy weekend
Oh, it's
in
raining in
Raleigh.
NC?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, at least you're lucky. You guys get to experience rain, you know? Here is just snowing
And
and ice and all that
yeah,
stuff.
it's just raining here and cloudy, very kind of gloomy,
Okay.
gloomy weather.
All right. So obviously this is no major plans for this weekend, I'm guessing, right?
No.
Ah, that's sad. That's sad to hear. Well, so obviously, I don't know if you've had the time to watch any of the episodes, but basically, you know, we'll just be asking a few questions about, your experience, how you moved over, and how you've been able to settle down since you came over. So, pretty standard stuff, nothing too crazy. So first off, I like to ask when you so when you sent me your details, you mentioned Yugoslavia. Now, I used to hear this term a lot growing up, and I know that the country is no more Yugoslavia. I think it's now Serbia and Montenegro. I think I'm not sure, but what?
That is
That's
correct.
correct. Okay.
When I left, it was Yugoslavia,
Oh,
but in 90s it split into small countries
okay.
like Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia, and Slovenia. So out of one country,
Wow.
it broke up in too many
So
small countries.
so let me get the total amount. So it was Serbia, it was Montenegro, and you had
Slovenia,
Slovenia. Wow. Croatia. I'm guessing.
Croatia, and
Wow.
Macedonia.
Macedonia as well. Wow. So what was the cause of this split? Do you remember?
It was a civil war
Oh. Oh wow.
uh, that ultimately brought to breakup, but it's just the dissimilar people
Hmm.
um, with a different history. They were put together in 1918 as a one country,
Hmm.
and then it broke up into pieces when economic and political
Yeah.
situation
Hmm.
caused this to happen.
That's very interesting, because this is very similar to what's and I mentioned this in the previous episode. There's a separationist group currently in my home country, and the major reason is because we don't share the same traditions, cultural identity, language, so there's that rift within the country because of that, those major differences. Now, some people obviously are opposed to the separation. There are a lot of people who support the separation. um I do hope it doesn't get to the point of a civil war, though. But it's interesting you said that. So what was the who? Because I'm assuming it's possibly colonialists that put these groups
Mm,
together?
I don't know exactly, but it happened after the first war,
Mm-hmm.
and not necessarily colonialist, but a breakup of Austro-Hungarian Empire and Turkish diminishing of Turkish Empire eventually caused
Oh,
this new country to be formed.
I see.
So when all these colonies in Austro-Hungarian
Mm-hmm.
and Turkish Empire broke up, to kind of liberate themselves, they decided it's decided to be like a Slavic based country,
Mm.
but because of the history and languages and religions, they were still stay dissimilar and fight over resources and budget distribution
Yeah, of
eventually
course.
brought up to breakup.
Hmm. I see.
But we left before the breakup.
Yes, because that was my next question. What time did
We
you leave?
did, yeah, we left before the breakup,
Mm-hmm.
uh, just because it was going in that direction,
Yeah.
and opportunities for children and for ourselves career
Mm-hmm.
probably was it was the major driver, not necessarily political climate at that
Mm-hmm. At
time.
the
It
time
was not obvious at that time that the
that the
breakup will
breakup was gonna
happen.
happen. Okay.
Yeah, it was not obvious.
So when did the breakup officially happen in Yugoslavia?
I'm not sure. I think well, the last was in I think 99 2000,
Oh,
last conflict.
the last conflict. Because I know that as at 99 2000, Croatia existed. As at 99
It
2000.
did, but the last like a uh, armed conflict was in Kosovo, between
Kosovo.
Kosovo and Serbia. That's another kind of partition that is happening. It happened and
Kosovo.
it's still kind of happening.
Where is Kosovo? This is.
It's the south of Serbia, between Albania, Serbia, and Montenegro.
Okay, and this is its own country, Kosovo.
It's not it's province that
It's a
has some
province?
independence.
Ah. So is it and you say it's located close to Serbia
Yes,
and
in the south.
in the south, okay. Because I was thinking Kosovo was close to Cyprus or something. Pretty close.
No, it's much more north from
More north from
Cyprus.
Cyprus? Okay. Yeah, that's obviously my geography is not the best. Okay, so obviously you left because not because of political instability, you left because you found some opportunity uh or
Well, not found, but foresee opportunities being better in
hmm,
Canada and or North America than in
then in
staying behind.
okay, I see. So at the time you left, were you with your family or were you married with kids when you left?
I was married with kids. My older daughter was 7 and my younger daughter was 3.
Oh wow.
And I left with my ex-husband and we left the kids behind with my parents,
Hmm.
and they came 3 months after us.
Oh wow. So you had to leave the kids behind. How?
We didn't have to, but we
Oh,
thought it's better that they don't go through the turmoil of settling in,
I see.
at least in first couple of months.
Okay, okay. So things weren't too hectic when you first moved to.
Well, it was always hectic on
Yeah.
the first move. We came with another couple, and
Okay.
we had friends that found a sublet apartment on Eglinton and Young.
Eddington and
So
Young. Where is that? Is this in Toronto? Sounds like Toronto. Young
in
Street,
Toronto, yes.
right? Yeah.
So we lived there for a month,
Mm-hmm.
and then we moved to Scarborough, where our friend signed a lease for apartment. This was just a sublet for a month or so.
Mm-hmm.
So we moved there, and then we finally found a place in Etobicoke, my
Oh,
ex-husband and I. And once we had that place and both jobs, then we brought the kids over.
Okay. Okay. That must have been a huge, expedition, right? Moving all the way
It
to
was
Canada.
January.
And that cannot be good also, right?
That cannot be good. It
The
was January 3rd,
peak of winter.
1987. It was
Yeah.
Canadian winter and no cars, and you can imagine that.
Oh,
But we managed, so it was okay.
yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So we both found a job after a month in
Mm-hmm.
Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We did speak English, not great, but
Not great.
okay.
Hmm.
We could get by and get a job, which was good.
That's important, yeah. Hmm.
And then kids came, and it was difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but we overcome that difficulty.
So when you first came to Canada, did you said you found, I'm guessing you and your husband were working when you found jobs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what type of job, the job you're working in, was it the type of job you wanted to work in when you first landed a job?
It was.
Okay. And where was this? Was it with
It was
Airbus? The company?
no,
Okay.
no. It was that was at Hamilton, Kent, actually.
Oh!
But it
Oh!
was a development chemist job, although I was not paid up to the standard. But it was a job in profession that I could
That you
learn
could,
and grow.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah. So I was satisfied at that time.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
And
So,
my ex-husband also found a job at that time was called Ontario Hydro
okay.
as an engineer, and it was a professional job when you can grow
Oh.
into an advance.
And advanced too, right? So was he like a professional engineer or?
He wasn't at that time. I
Okay.
mean, he was engineer, but
But he
didn't
wasn't.
have
He didn't have the
professional
profession destination. Yeah. Okay.
So he got that after couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great. So, so all these happened in the late '80s, early '90s, right?
Yes.
So this
yes.
transition. Okay. And did your parents eventually join you in Canada?
They brought my mom brought the children, and my parents joined me in I think mid-90s.
Mid '90s. Okay.
Yes, because my father was still working at that time, and they were going back and forth for vacations in the summer. But I haven't been back until 2003.
2003. Oh.
Yes, that was the first time I went back.
You went back home. And how was it when you
Yes.
went back home? Was it the same?
It was good.
Hmm.
It was same at that time. And then the changes happened. Not changes, but it was more westernized.
Oh. Westernized.
Later. Yes, it kind of losing its
traditional culture and
lifestyle. Yeah.
I see. So
later on.
Okay, because this blows my mind when you say Western culture. Because in my mind, whenever we see Western culture, we think Europe and North America, right? So from what you're saying, it seems like there's a clear distinction between Western culture and European culture, right?
Well, North American and European. So I would say, or I could say, kind of international content.
Okay.
In food and stores and malls. That changed after when I went next time. I went down at 2007 and then 2016.
I see.
So I didn't go very often back.
Yeah. Because I'm just like, because I guess it kind of makes sense. Because when I think about some of the traditional cultures, especially the last guest on the show, we talked about Germany, and I think about some of the old cultures of the German, the bars where you have how they dress in those white tops like the ladies serve drinks, and it's usually this. It's very typical of Germans, right? They call it some Bavarian culture, but the I noticed that's something that I don't see anymore, and it's something that they don't experience back in Germany anymore over the years. So would you call that some kind of would you say that's kind of an international influence as well?
Kind of
That's
melting
something like
pot.
that.
Yes, everyone is the same. Anywhere you go, it becomes kind of
Yeah,
same.
synonymous kind of thing.
Without the distinctive cultures, whatever it is, whether it is German or Serbian, it's kind of melting. That
you can't really tell where you are if you go to a particular country, right? It just seems like everyone is the same. They dress the same.
Anymore, yeah. And I don't know about France, but if France is becoming like that, it's more getting international, not necessarily westernized, but
yeah, I see what you mean. It's like it's like a whole global concept that's kind of being propagated right now. It seems right? It seems like everyone has to behave in a certain way, and and whatever. And I guess this makes a lot of sense now, because a lot of people who talk about this preserving your culture and things like that, and I never really thought about it until you mentioned that this also affected a European country. Because in my mind, I used to, and this is obviously probably the goal of the globalists, idea movement, right? Where I see Europe and I just assume you all have the same culture. Meanwhile, from what you're saying, it looks like you all had your own individual traditions and cultures, and now people who are outside Europe looking in just assume you all are the same, right? Even though they may say, okay, you may speak different languages here and there, but you pretty much dress the same, look the same, and things like that, which is not historically true.
It's always been different, and there's again the European culture becomes all about the same, and that the distinct differences between localities are melting, and the same thing in even international. It's all becoming like a big melting pot. But I have to make a disclaimer. I haven't traveled for last 2 years anyway.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we can actually travel even if we wanted to at this point.
Exactly.
With all the stuff happening. Okay, but that's good to. I mean, that's a good learning point for me, because definitely, see, I was ignorant. I used to. You see, when you said Western culture, my mind was a little confused. I was like, I thought European culture was Western culture, and so I guess that's part of the issue. So, would you say this influence, this Western influence, globalist influence on your country, was for the greater good, or you don't think?
I think so. I think it's overall greater good, but you don't want to lose that distinct local.
Uniqueness. The uniqueness. Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
You kind of feel lost. You want that, because when I come from North America, I want to see things that are specific and characteristic what the country that I left, and I had fond memories of. And I said, well, I've seen this the same thing. Yeah, Mexican food. Yeah, I have it a lot in North America. I don't care about it, or you want something that it's unique for this locality, not something you can find. Or Chinese, I don't care about Chinese.
The Chinese food is everywhere. Yeah, it's not exactly unique.
It doesn't excite me if they take me to Chinese or Mexican restaurants.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
That's nothing new for me.
Those are pretty global meals, honestly. At this point, like, I think there's probably Mexican restaurants in Europe now.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's everywhere.
Yeah, same thing with Chinese food. It's everywhere. It's in my country, for goodness sake, which tells you a lot.
So the influences are global, but that's not a bad thing.
No, it's
It's
not.
just observation.
Yeah, it's not, because it just shows like there's some cultures that are, that have global, recognition, more than others. But I think the globalist movement, to some degree, where it has its negative impact, is where some other cultures will be minimized and consumed by the greater, the greater community, right? So if everyone, for example, a good example is what's happening in my country right now. So you have Nigeria, right? And we have so many different tribes in Nigeria. However, the most dominant tribes are three major tribes: Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. Now, when people think Nigeria, they think those three tribes. They don't think about the numerous other tribes that are there, other villages. And so all those other tribes over time begin to lose their national significance, whether people want to accept it or not. Over time, it starts to go down because globally, no one really recognizes these other, nations. So of course, the ones that are recognized get a greater international, influence. And then over time, because now you have three major languages in a single country, there is no way that that country can advance itself if they do not accept a national acceptable language, which is English. So we all have to learn English. Like, this is something that we must learn. When you're born into Nigeria, you must understand English. So as you learn English and you begin to interact with other people from different cultures within the country, you have the risk. You stand the risk. Now, this doesn't happen to all families, but you stand the risk of losing your, losing your
Background.
background. You seem to lose this affinity towards your
A connection
identity.
to your background.
Yeah, your identity
main
kind of
identity.
lost, and all of a sudden you're this person who can, yes, you can live anywhere, right? You can blend because you know how to speak English, you know how other cultures behave and all of that. But then you lose the understanding of, what makes you you and why you're different and this unique person and what's your name. Some people don't even know what their names mean anymore because they don't even know the language at all. I'm one of those who's kind of guilty of not really understanding my own language. So I do understand the impact it can have, and albeit not a very dangerous impact, but it is a disappointing impact moving forward, because then it just seems like there's some cultures which will inevitably be erased because people don't, keep up with the language or the culture or the, you know what I mean? Which is
That's already happening with the First Nation.
exactly right in over in Canada
In Canada
and the US, right? So now people may say, oh well, but they have, they have reserves and things like that. But I mean, take for example Canada. The reserves in Canada, right? You have one in Nunavut, right? And then Northwest Territories. No one goes there, right? Like, no one really goes there. Why? Because it's very uninhabitable, right? It's very cold, it's not very developed, and all that stuff. Now you may say they give them grants and all that, and they help them any way they can, but these people used to live in the warmer areas, right? They used to live in like places like Toronto and Quebec and Manitoba. They used to live on the southern side, right? On the southern side, but now they've been pushed, to the more arid, colder regions of Canada. So, in as much as they still have their identity, but no one's really recognizing it, and obviously, they're also not in a position where they are, they don't
making
really
any influence.
they don't, it's not like I've been in and my friend asked me this question in my last presentation. He said, have I been able to see any native restaurants since I came to Canada? I haven't seen any native restaurants. Like, there's no restaurant I can identify in Canada that is native to any village or any tribe that is of Native American. I've never seen any restaurant like that, at least not yet. Maybe there is, but I don't know, right? So it's part of those things too, right? Because that's the whole losing the identity. But when it comes to Mexican food, I see so many different, international foods here and there. Chinese foods everywhere. You see Greek and American and Canadian meals all around, but I've not seen a Native American restaurant. I haven't. I don't even know what a Native American food is, let alone the language, right? So now, whether it's a good thing overall or a bad thing, I do know it's not something that's good for the natives, because obviously they're losing their heritage and their identity over time. Is it good for the general population? Maybe. It's debatable, but it's one of those things, right? So I guess I understand where it's kind of crazy how we expanded on this this topic of losing, because I think it was an eye opener that I never really looked into before. That's crazy. So what language do you speak, though? Because you're talking about languages. What language? What's
Serbian.
your native language? Serbian language?
Serbian. Yes.
It's called Serbian.
It's called Serbian. It's a Slavic-based language, similar to Russian, Polish, and Czech.
Oh. Do Ukrainians speak Slavic as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so this is very...
I mean, it's different language, different dialects, but it's a base, like a...
It's,
like
Latin, right? Like Latin
language,
English, Italian comes out from Latin, right?
No, English no.
English no?
Italian, French, and Spanish and Portuguese.
They're all Latin.
Belong to that Latin.
English. So where would you say English and German come from?
English and German belong to Germanic languages, or...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
they not belong to
Latin,
French and Latin.
Oh, they're not the same. Oh, okay.
And then the Slavic languages are kind of related to Russian to some form.
Some degree, yeah. Oh.
But they're all different dialects.
Yes, yes, they are.
Different dialect, different languages with all same base.
Slavic. So you have Slavic, you have Germanic, and you have Latin. These are all like based languages that all these other languages were born from. Okay, in Europe. All right, okay, that's good. So,
then Greek is different altogether.
Oh, okay.
Greek is different altogether.
So is there any other country that is particularly different? I know Turkey would probably be different.
There are some like Romanian is kind of related to Roman languages, to Italian or Latin. And then you have Hungarian, it's another completely different language.
Okay.
And then you have Scandinavian languages. They are
because Scandinavia would be Hungary, right? To a certain degree. No. Bulgaria.
Bulgaria is Slavic. Base.
What would you say? Latvia.
Latvia, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I need to do a lot of studying after this one.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good. So you were talking about moving your family. What's your family like right now? This is years after your move so you mentioned at the time you had 2 daughters when you moved. So what is the makeup right now?
Oh, and I have 2 daughters and 2 son-in-laws.
2 son-in-laws, okay.
And 5 grandchildren.
Oh, I think you went off for a bit. Okay, you back? All right. Okay, so 5 grandchildren and 2 daughters and 2 son-in-laws. So that means they come from your current husband.
All come from my current husband. Yes.
Okay. So the grandchildren also come from your in-laws, your son-in-laws, or do your daughters?
No. These are my daughter's children.
Okay, so all your grandkids are your daughter's children.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no somebody that kind of came in to
Mm.
family from another side.
Oh, I see. Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good. Um, I don't know if this is a personal question, but I just felt I needed to ask. Is what happened between you and your first husband that you moved to Canada?
I think the stress of what I mean, why did we get divorced?
Oh, you got divorced. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did get divorced, and he stayed in Canada. It was a stress of, I think, of maybe different reasons, but
Mm.
uh, moving to new country did add to
Mm.
breakup of the
Yeah.
marriage. Maybe you cannot tell for sure.
Mm. And who like who wanted the divorce between both of you?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. How is he doing right now, though? Do you
He's
know?
doing good.
It's fine.
He's retired. We are in contact.
Okay.
He's remarried and retired, and she's okay.
He's fine. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So you moved from Canada. How long did you stay in Canada before you moved to the US?
12 years. 12 years.
12 years. Okay, 12 years. And would you say US is better than Canada, like living
It's
wise?
they're very difficult to say.
Really?
Uh, and not necessarily better.
Mm-hmm.
It's different.
Hmm.
Canada have a better social network for sure. The healthcare, it may not be better, but it's more accessible to everybody
Mm-hmm.
and cheaper.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, there's definitely better social net, safety net in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's more peaceful in terms of crime,
Oh.
but the opportunities are less in Canada than
Than the
in the United
US,
States,
I would assume.
in every possible way.
I would assume, yeah.
You have you have a lot more better things and a lot more worse things.
Well, that's what it's like with the metropolis, right? Or with with a big country like the US. You'd have the more people, you would have more chances of employment, interaction, and crime. Everything will go up.
Yeah,
That's wild.
but definitely the gun issue is the big problem. And
Mm.
it's not too much an issue in Canada. I mean, there's still some
There's
incidents,
some
but not
crime.
as
Yeah.
many.
Okay.
That's a really saddening thing. It's the violent gun crimes are the problem in the United States.
So do you like because you say in North Carolina, right?
Yes.
Would you say is North Carolina more of a calm calm area, or it's
There's
just
no calm area. There just the pockets. I
yeah.
mean, everywhere is the same. So you have a high crime pockets,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean, literally, gun crime can affect any
Mm.
place, anywhere. It's like schools and churches, and you never know.
Yeah, that's
But it's not
also a scary thing.
often.
No,
It,
it's not, but it's still you know I don't know, the gun
we don't feel
crimes are
scared, but it always crosses my mind
once in a while, right?
once in a while.
I mean, I don't blame you. You have grandkids, so that's definitely going to be a concern.
The smaller, well, who knows? Even there's no locality that it's safe.
Are guns allowed in North Carolina?
Everywhere.
Oh, really? I thought there were some states that didn't allow possession of firearms.
No, no, not here, anyways.
Okay, okay. Well, I think it is a constitutional right, right? It's part of the
Yeah,
Constitution, so you can't actually prevent it.
so these are bad things, but opportunities are definitely
Hmm.
more.
Yeah, Oh no, to be honest, one of my goals was, at least I shouldn't say my goal, but one of my plans in my head was, to eventually go to the US to work. So because I do know that there's, the opportunities are more abundant there, and also the taxes are less stringent in the US.
Yeah, but you whatever you pay for it,
I guess.
You in Canada you pay taxes, but you have free health
Free
care.
healthcare, right? Yeah, that is true. That is true.
You get what you pay for.
What is like the general, okay, because right now, say for an average household in Canada, you pay about 21% tax, or I think 18%, if I'm not mistaken. What would that number be in the US for an average household?
Oh, that's not that
You
big
wouldn't
of
know?
difference. Well, I think the highest bracket is about 35%.
That's the highest you can pay in the US.
Well, I think so.
I think the highest in
After,
Canada is 40 or 40 something.
yeah, or something. So, and then I don't know. It all depends on the brackets, these brackets and
Yeah, yeah.
deductions. It's complicated. It's difficult to say.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about the average household, like, standard
I cannot tell.
$50,000 a year, something like that. Anyway,
Probably about 12%.
12%. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually pretty nice. Okay. So, the next question I was gonna ask. So, how is the compared to Serbia, right? How are the people, in Canada and the US, how do they compare? Like the way
Colder.
colder? I mean, the people.
Yes.
People are
The
colder?
people, yes, both. I mean, they are not that as much as friendly as in Serbia,
Oh, I
but
see.
not in a negative way. They're more private,
Really?
no,
Yeah.
not in a very negative way.
That makes sense because I think it's, there's a lot more diverse culture in Canada and the US, right? So that tends to cause a lot of um, concern, right, with people. Generally speaking, you're now introduced to people of different cultures, different languages, different beliefs. So there's always going to be that level of security that people have where they have this standoff-ish response to other people.
I mean, they're super nice. The friends and neighbors are super nice and
Mm,
helpful, but they won't get very intimate
mm.
in terms of spending time
Spending time
together
together,
and
right?
socializing.
Hmm. I guess that makes
As
sense.
they would be doing in Serbia.
Hmm.
There a lot more socializing going on a daily
Yeah,
basis.
I think it's because of the commonality between people, right? Because you have
I,
your next neighbor speaks the same language with you and has the same culture, so there's more of a bonding. Do you think? Think that could
I
be an
think
issue?
it's in the genetic
It's
makeup.
a genetic thing. I
But
guess
it's not
I
only
should go to
that.
Serbia then.
Also, people move around a lot in North America,
Mm-hmm.
and well, I think it's much closer. People are much closer if they never moved out of their place they
Mm.
were born, even in United States. But as we move around a lot, you kind of the connections that you establish, they are broken by the physical distance
Mm.
over time,
Over
and
time, right?
also the interest, and people grow in the different directions
Mm.
with the friends that you grow up, and which is never, it's not happening in Serbia. The people always kind of
Mm-hmm.
stay the same place,
Hmm.
so
Okay.
they know each other the whole their
Yeah, they
life.
already know. Yeah.
So, and also even the friends and relatives are spread around
Mm-hmm.
uh, easily, because there's no permanence in North America the way it's in and not only Serbia, and I think it's in all Europe.
Hmm.
People stay where they were born,
Yeah.
much likely then not everybody, but
Yeah, most people would rather stay. It's more of a comfort in locale, right? Like you're born in
yeah,
a place, you get accustomed to your surroundings, and you're comfortable. You don't want to. People don't like the unknown, right? Most people wouldn't want to venture out
yeah.
to go
But
find.
because of the jobs and opportunities, people move around a lot more.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's why you establish the connections that are
Mm-hmm.
difficult to maintain without moving. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. So how about the food in what the food like? Are you how does it compare to what you eat back home?
It's different.
Different? In what way? It's less spicy?
Um, no, well, it's not that spicy. Is the dishes are different, but we are used to here. They're not really cooking local food,
Hmm.
so we eat North American diet basically. At least we are. The other people are more closer to.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay. At least it's not. So it's not too different, but it is a little. It's
it's
different.
not too different. It's not
Yeah.
too different, but there's some specific dishes
Hmm.
that different.
Okay. So what are your? So obviously you're retired now, and I guess life is. I don't know if you say life is on the easy side right now. You don't have to wake up every day to go to work and all that. But what would you say are your current challenges right now as a retired veteran in the rubber industry?
It's more challenges that are more COVID related.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I cannot do things that I would like to do,
Mm-hmm.
and we think we can, go to museums and concerts. It
Yeah.
started and then it dies off on us, so that's the challenge.
Ah.
And I cannot meet new people or take some.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to take some classes in university, some just general knowledge class, things that may interest me,
Mm.
or that's not kind of conducive right now. We think we
Yeah.
are out of pandemic and then we are back in.
Yeah. Next thing you know is another variant.
Yeah, even the gym is not safe anymore.
No.
So
No, it is not. I
we
think
do
they
what
might
we
close it.
can. We do with restaurants. We don't go indoors. Now everything is indoors. We don't go to restaurants. We used to go a little more in the summers,
Mm-hmm.
even fall when the outdoors are open.
Mm.
Now this is all gone, and we are very, very careful about COVID.
Yeah, can imagine.
So it is what it is.
It is
I
what it
hope it
is.
will get better. I cannot travel the way I want, so
No, it's crazy. It's crazy, honestly. I still have a flight that I booked since 2020 that I still haven't used
I understand. I
because of COVID.
understand.
It's
I
crazy.
understand.
It's crazy. I don't even know if I'm allowed to. I think now I have to pay something. I don't know. Whatever. So what are your future plans though? Now that you've retired, do you think you would go into something like maybe consulting or, you know, what path do you think you'd be taking, or are you just going to be traveling whenever we can travel,
I,
or just?
I don't know yet. We'll see. I would like to work somewhere part time, very very
Mm.
few part time hours, where
Yeah.
I would be involved with the people, get to know people,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe museum or something
That could
for a
be
couple of
nice.
hours, or uh, something like that. But that's not possible right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Do you think you ever do you think there'll be anything that will ever take you back to Serbia other than just to visit?
No, I
Uh,
no.
Not at this
Visit
point.
absolutely, and traveling in Europe. Like I was planning to go to Serbia for 2-3 months, and then take us short trips to
Hmm.
neighboring countries like
Croatia?
to Greece.
Greece?
No,
Okay.
not necessarily, but to Greece and other countries.
Hmm.
Greece, maybe Czech Republic, um, Italy, these kind of things, neighboring
Mm-hmm.
short trips, even Turkey. That was my plan.
That sounds
But
like a good itinerary.
yeah, like a 1 week trips, and then 3 weeks stay in Serbia, then go for another 1 week trip for a couple of months, but not to move there permanently
Mm.
because of children. Basically, the childrens are here, but even I cannot do that. My responsibility towards
Yeah.
babysitting,
And how are
not
they
yet.
though? You must be
They're
having a
doing
great
great.
time, having five
Yes,
grandkids.
yes. They're going. They have a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love kids too. Bundles of fun until they grow up and start to say mean words.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not happening.
That's great. So, uh, um, the current situation back home, though, because is it is it still okay? Like, no more issues, no major political issues at the moment.
No, not that I see.
Okay, so things are pretty calm. Say you had someone. Now this would probably be. We're coming towards the end of the the discussion today. So, you have any advice for someone who would be planning to make the same you know make the same move you made from Serbia or
Or,
from
or,
from
or
countries
struggling to adjust, you mean?
struggling to
Yeah,
adjust? Yeah.
stay positive and look at the opportunities they are possible.
Mm,
And I also look at this kind of, again, global citizen point of view,
mm,
that it's home is where the opportunities and peace is,
mm,
and you make a new home, and uh, where the look at the positive way.
mm, mm. I was gonna ask a question. When you first moved over to Canada and then the US, did you ever struggle with like how people interacted with you? Um,
No,
Not at all.
no, no,
Was language ever like a major issue for you?
no. I was learning quickly and
Okay.
picking it up. I mean, learning, expanding on the bases,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd never felt uh, a negative
You never got a negative
view,
response from people.
negative response.
Mm. Okay, that sounds good. So at least it's great because you've had a thrilling experience. Moving over with your family and then having to adjust and making two separate moves from
Yes,
Serbia to Canada to the US, and
I
with your
always
family
looked at,
too. Must have been tough.
yeah, but I looked at also kind of, I was always curious and
Mm.
enjoying learning new things and
Mm.
expanding the knowledge and understanding of new areas. And so I always looked at as something very exciting every move.
That's great. That's great. You're not someone I would consider as an introvert, right? You love to be outside.
Well, I am.
Oh, okay.
In a way.
You
I
know
mean,
it.
I can entertain myself, and
Okay.
I don't need
To be
um,
around people.
to be around people, but I
Hmm.
also don't feel shy or withdrawn by any means.
Ah, I see. I see.
So it's both ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think that's it. Thank you so
Thank you for
much.
the opportunity,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
we'll be in touch.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lillian, for making this episode possible. As always, I'm always grateful. Even aside from this show, obviously, from when you were my superior at Airboss and taught me a lot, and I gotta, pick up some of the things you've left for me, and um, yeah, it's great. And I think a lot of us do miss you, because you were a very important asset to us as not just a coworker, but as also a friend and
Okay.
a great person.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lillian. And I hope you have a great Christmas with your family and have a good one.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye now.